Hi everyone, it's Sean from Pulse Markets here. I'm sitting down with Aegros again. We've had a really exciting quarter over the last couple of months, and Aegros are here to give us a really good update on what's happening, a couple of key milestones which have been ticked. But we've got John Manusu and Nair here today. Welcome, guys, and how exciting is it going to Christmas with all these presents you've got for everyone?
Well, first of all, Merry Christmas to everyone, and particularly to our shareholders who have been so supportive of us through the year. It's been, I mean, Hari, you got a comment on this. Has been a stunner. There's just words defy me.
Thank you, John. I've got to first wish those investors who are celebrating Christmas and wish them a Merry Christmas. And we wish everyone a joyous New Year, a safe New Year. And it's going to be a big year next year for Aegros.
It's going to be huge.
I think that we started the year by promising a few things. We promised to deliver to start the second phase of our trial, the Covimmune trial, and we then also talked about the 1 million litre facility. Let me start with the Covimmune trial. Right, a volunteer, a subject, was actually infused with Covimmune a couple of weeks ago. And this was a really memorable occasion for myself and for John. We are so proud of not only our team, but the technology. We were told that, the technology needed to be proven. The technology needed to show that you can actually put a drug into a human being. Guess what? We've done that. There's no more questions about the safety of our product. The subject that we infused had no adverse reactions, and even after 2 weeks the person is alive, kicking, without any reactions whatsoever, clearly showing how safe our product is.
I mean, it was always suggested that this was the moment of truth, that until then, who knows, maybe it's a Frankenstein machine you guys have created. Well, that moment has passed. Yeah. This was a red letter day in spades. Yes. It was the moment of truth, where we now know that our process is just like any other separation process, other than the fact it does so twice as efficiently and at a fraction of the cost.
And the other part of that week, and I have to tell you, it was a glorious week, the week before last, was when I got a call from the Queensland Treasury saying that and this was on Thursday afternoon at about 1 o'clock, when they said to me, "Can you get on a flight, because the Treasurer and the Premier want to make a media release at 9 a.m. In Brisbane on Friday morning." And the fact that this was how last minute this was, but to stand there, and I wish my business partner John was there, but he was getting on a flight.
I was on holidays.
It was such an honor to stand up there and talk about a project that we have been dreaming about and plotting and scheming for the last 37 years. And to suddenly come alive because a state government, and we promised this at the beginning of the year, that a state government is backing us. They're backing us both monetarily, financially, politically, and with all the powers of a state government that are at their behest to support us with this project. And this was, again, another wonderful, glorious, proud moment in not only the existence of Aegros, the technology, but me personally.
Yeah, and on top of that, what it does is it signifies that we are now actually probably the largest producer in Australia of end product, that is, given the volume that we can produce out of that facility. This is no longer a little startup somewhere saying, look at me, look at me. This is actually going to make a difference. In fact, if we were to process all of the plasma that is collected by Lifeblood, we would actually make Australia self-sufficient. Now, there's no way that could be done by any other technology than what we've got. Yep. It's as simple as that.
It sends a clear message. If you look at other fractionators, the only way that they can increase the supply of plasma products is by increasing the volume of plasma that they can process. Now, you can process, you can build 9 million liter facilities, but you need to get the plasma for it. And there is a shortage of plasma supply all around the world. The only way that you can actually manage that is to have a technology that will actually double the product, double the protein that you can manufacture. And right now, there is only one technology that can do that, and that is the HemaFrac. And we own that technology. But ipso facto, that when you're looking at that facility in Brisbane, you're looking at a 1 million liter facility, but capable of producing 2 million liters worth of product if you use current technology. So you literally are looking at a very, very special time in the progression of Aegros.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, think of it again. This is a moment in time that we will all reflect back on at a future point. And we will say, I was there when these guys set out their first plant, very much like when the Tesla guys broke ground on their first plant to make the Series 3. This is the same sort of game-changing moment where it doesn't matter what happens from here on in. No one is going to be able to touch us for daylight. It is going to be Aegros with their production process, and everyone else is going to be lost in the smoke behind. And this comes back to why there's so much interest now from the strategic investor side, but we should talk to that later.
Okay, thanks, guys. That's been a terrific update of what's been happening. So we've injected a patient with Covimmune. As you've said, we've got the Queensland government support for this 1 million litre facility. I mean, it's just been a wonderful quarter.
Yeah,
what's next coming up? I mean, the trial progress, we've got to get through that. And then there's the TGA registration of product, and then we're hitting revenue. So do you think we're still on target for a Q3 IPO next year, Q4?
Well, I think let me start with the trial. The clinical trial is in progress. We are hoping to finish our Sentinel group. That's 3 subjects by the end of this month. I have been told today that there is a possibility that we will be able to do this before Christmas, which is fantastic. After which the results have got to go to the Human Ethics Committee so that we can get approval to do the further 12 patients. That will then be submitted as the results will then be submitted as a dossier to the TGA so that this product can be registered on the Australian Register for Therapeutic Goods. So in terms of a timeline, we are again following what we presented earlier on. John, I'll let you talk about the IPO.
Yeah, look, the IPO is going to be, it's a good question. In all honesty, we want to IPO in the second half of next year. Whether that will come to pass is something that will be determined by our shareholders and in conjunction with this strategic investor that we're looking at working with. So the only thing which would delay or postpone that would be if the strategic investor had a different view. And if that was the case, we would obviously be taking that into consideration with the amount of money that would be returned to shareholders at that time.
Okay, so the talks with the strategic investor, they're progressing nicely, I believe.
Absolutely. There is, as you can understand, a significant amount of interest from the fractionators. Why? Because Australia is a monopoly. There is one supplier who has 90% of all of the sales, and the other fractionators would love to access that market. Now, they can't do so unless they are doing so with an Australian-based manufacturer, and that is where Aegros comes in. So there's that plus the value that we would add to any potential partner that we have here. There has been a presentation done, I'm sure we can throw that slide up at a later time, which shows the value that our technology would add to every one of the major fractionators. So you'll get a sense of the value that this brings, and it is in the billions. So yes, we are well down the track. It won't be completed, I'm sure, until sometime in the March period. There's going to be a lot of FOMO, fear of missing out, and that's what will drive this auction.
But look, it's a bit of a no-brainer. If you've got a technology that will double the yield, and then this is something that fractionators are looking for, because let me be very clear, because of the pandemic, because of other reasons, it's difficult to increase plasma volume. the plasma volume that you need from donor sites and donors is limited. I mean, I don't want to be flippant, but there's only so much plasma that you can actually get out of one human being. So the ability of a technology to actually deliver double what is possible right now makes it is a game changer.
Yeah.
And this is what people are looking for. I was talking to a fractionator, a very senior board member of a very large fractionator some months back. And he said to me, you know, I can build the best fractionation plants in the world. What I don't have is a technology that will be able to deliver from the plasma that I get. And that is what Aegros has, that technology that can deliver that. And that is the solution to a major problem that fractionators globally have at the moment.
And that's what the validation via the first dosing shows, that this is a technology that does that. And so it's no longer, trust me, it's no longer believe in what we're saying. It's done and dusted.
Well, you've had quite a few independent people come through already, the TGA, the Kirby Institute, University of Queensland. The list just goes on and on.
They're our partners. They are our partners. The validation comes from the TGA. The other people are partners. And why are they partnering with us? They're partnering with us because they know that this is the future.
Okay, that's great, guys. Queensland, I mean, a little bit more information there would have been very exciting being with the Queensland Treasurer. Can you just go through a little bit more detail what actually is on offer from the government up there?
Well, as I said to you before, I stood in front of a press pack together with the Queensland Treasurer Cameron Dick, the state member for that area, the Mayor of Ipswich, and a few other people. And the most important thing there is the support by the Queensland government. We can't talk about the actual amount of financial support, but there is financial support there. There's also political support, and the power that the Queensland government brings, because they are a member of the NBA. So they would be crucial in allowing us the ability to talk about access to plasma, which we obviously need from the NBA. Now, what is so special about this particular building? If you look at the building, it's a 30,000 square meter building, which will be our headquarters as well, our global headquarters. It is going to be able to process 1 million liters of plasma. And we're talking about products coming out like albumin and immunoglobulin, IVIG. Now, the building itself is a stunner. It is actually a green building, and the flyover that you're seeing right now will actually show how wonderful the architecture actually is. It has our logo, which is part of the construction. The pillars are actually our logo.
Yeah, it makes a complete statement about.
It is a legacy. Yeah. It is a legacy project, and I think that you'll see how impressive it is from both an architectural and engineering viewpoint.
And not only is it environmentally green, but it's also going to enable Australia to become self-sufficient in these life-saving therapeutic products. And to me, that is the thing that we as a nation need to be focused on, is how do we support ourselves when the next pandemic comes, and it will. So this is the way. And it's the only way that we can actually make Australia self-sufficient. It's also going to be the source of an export market, the like of which we haven't seen for a very long time. Not only the therapeutic products, but the processes themselves, we will be able to replicate there, build there, and then ship to other countries where they'll just be reconfigured, and the machine will be turned on and will then have another country, which is using our technology. The membranes that you can see there in both Hari's and my hands, they will be the ongoing consumables. And this is just going to generate ongoing dollars, not to mention the value it brings to every one of these people, because they now have life-saving therapies themselves.
And from the Queensland perspective, you're looking at a facility that will employ up to 600 people. and the indirect jobs, we are looking at something close to about 3,000. So literally, it's a huge injection on fun into the economy of
Yes.
not only Queensland but of the country in general. And it also allows Aegros to do one thing that no other fractionator has been able to do. We can now designate the Sydney facility as an exclusive facility for hyperimmunes. Now, it is one thing, for the government to talk about the establishment of a CDC and things like that. But it's another thing to have companies like Aegros to be able to react to a pandemic. As I said to some government officials before, if you gave us plasma with the strategies that we have in place, we would be able to manufacture a hyperimmune within a matter of weeks. That is something that cannot be done if you don't have an exclusive facility. So that's number one. Number two, the 1 million litre facility allows us to look at the more general products. And that is something that the country needs. It is not enough to have one supplier. To be self-sufficient, especially in current times where you're challenged by pandemics and things, you must have an alternate supplier. And we are not going to be an alternate supplier. We are Australia's other fractionator.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, guys. Now, also, we're currently doing a capital raise, which we got cornerstoned by a family office. We've got another 2 family offices looking at the moment. We did a tour of the facility earlier today. What I have been inundated with is investors which are wanting to exercise their options, myself included, with the 230s or even the 5s, to get the $15 options. Do you just want to go a little bit to that, John, please?
Sure. Look, we're doing in total, it's going to be about a $20 million spend on equipment, etc., just to lift our production volumes from the 30,000 to the 100,000. And the placement at the moment is at $10 a share plus the $15 free share option. So, I don't know how you look at it, but if I had $2.30 or even $5 options, I'd be saying it makes a lot of sense to exercise those.
Yep, it sure does. To get that 15 3-year option,
absolutely,
which is a 3-year option, when one would think that option will still be around when the 1 million litre facility is constructed.
It will be. And, don't forget, we've got the expectation that the strategic investor will be buying back 5% of all of the shares at over around the $1 billion mark or more, which would be $20 a share. So it gives you an indication of why that would make a lot of sense.
It sure does. Well, listen, guys, I want to thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to say to your investors or your shareholders at this particular moment?
Yes, I do. I want to thank each and every shareholder for the confidence that they have shown in not only John and myself, but the company as a whole. We can say what we want, and we can have ambitions, and we can have plans. Without the support from the shareholders, we won't be where we are. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much for your support. And as we've promised you time and time again, we strive to deliver.
We do. Yeah. And Merry Christmas to everyone.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes, and a Happy New Year. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll speak to you next year.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Dr. Hari Nair. I am the Executive Chair of Aegros and co-founder of the company. I am a hematologist by training, and I have a PhD in medicine and clinical science. Aegros is Australia's second plasma fractionator, and the technology we use, the HemaFrac, is what is going to turn the plasma fractionation industry on its head. Current plasma fractionation uses what is known as the Cohn-Onkli-Kleister-Nishman system, which is composed of a multitude of steps which take into account things like your pH, ionic strength, temperature, etc. The multitude of steps, which is very important, create a situation where you can actually exaggerate losses so that the final product, in the case of immunoglobulin, only 50% is produced And this is significant when we are talking about the use of these particular plasma products in industry. The HemaFrac system is a 4-step system and is composed of one capture step. What it does is that it gives you very high yields, and this, we believe, will take care of the shortage of immunoglobulins in our health system, and most possibly in a global sense. Aegros' HemaFrac system is an electrical environment system consisting of 3 membranes, one on the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. Protein molecules are then charged using a buffer, and in this particular instance, the positive immunoglobulin molecules are then transferred across the middle membrane into the lower stream towards the negative electrode. The HemaFrac system is a 4-step process compared to the multitude of steps that's required for conventional cone. Now, in spite of that, what you get is a very high yield, very high purity, and low running costs with minimal impact on the environment. Hello, I'm Professor Hari Nair, co-founder of Aegros, here to introduce the Australian-invented HemaFrac. Housed in our state-of-the-art 4,000 square meter plant in Sydney, we use the HemaFrac to make Covimmune, a hyperimmune against COVID-19. Research and development is key to our success, creating a revolutionary 4-step process with yields of 90% and product purity of 99%. Membrane technology is the heart of HemaFrac, and we make our own right here on site. The HemaFrac lives in our TGA GMP approved clean rooms, making hyperimmunes from blood plasma. And we have our own extensive warehouse capacity. Aegros is replicating our HemaFrac all over the world as we aim to provide self-sufficiency in blood plasma medicines, in line with the WHO mandate. We are Aegros, patients first through innovation.